I'm Fate Sparrow. I'm a third-generation farmer. I took over as soon as I got out of high school and been farming for 18 years. I didn't have enough help to run all my equipment. So I needed to do something, and I had 2 big sprayers running. It was hard keeping labor, trying to run them all. Without the MAGGROW system, you could turn it on and the chemical was just blowing across the shop yard because I had the pressure up real high. And as soon as we put the MAGGROW system on and got it plumbed up, immediately that drift went away. I mean, I was kind of skeptical about it at first. Still put 10 out, and then I dropped it back to 8, and I've cut it all the way back to 5. It works just as good as putting out 10 and 15 gallons of water. I mean, the first time you use it, I mean, it was immediate. As soon as you turn the sprayer on, you could tell a 100% difference. On a normal day, average, not pushing it hard, I was getting 500 acres a day. And that same sprayer now, I can get 800 to 1,000. $300,000 sprayer, instead of having 2, I went to 1. Cut my rates and do the same amount of acres with 1 sprayer as I was doing with 2. And I've had to cut back on my PICS applications because it's working so much better. Before, you could get out of the sprayer and look at the leaves and you could see the droplets on the leaves. Well, with the MAGGROW system, you can get out now and it looks like somebody painted a sheet of paper across the leaves. You're getting so much better coverage. You can actually see it under the leaves now. Same nozzles, same pressure, same everything. And it works fine. The results were great. If I can start cutting my chemical rates back, I mean, you save 25% on your chemical bill. I mean, that's huge. I mean, that's the difference in making money and not making money. And I've had 0 drift complaints this year using the MAGGROW system. There's no electronics, there's no maintenance on it. You don't have to do anything. I mean, pop it off that sprayer, throw it on the new one, and you're ready to go again. I mean, having 0 issues with it. With the MAGGROW system, I don't have a clue how it works. It's one of the hardest things to understand through a science standpoint, but it's the easiest thing to use. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, you don't have to clean anything out. There's no filters. I mean, it's a normal day on the sprayer.
My name's Steve Parks. I grew up in this county and I've been farming since I was a teenager. We've been here a long time and several generations of farmers. Primarily a row crop farm of soybeans and wheat, corn. We had 3 or 4 really good years, and then we've had about 4 or 5 that have been a strain, big strain. Margins are real thin, if any at all. Cheap commodities. We're always looking for ways to trim cost that don't affect yield. With the MAGGROW system, I'm confident I could reduce my chemical costs, and I'm confident in other applications like vegetable growers or where they're using a lot of chemical and a lot of expensive chemicals. They could be a huge savings for them. We saw the videos they had and the results they had in Europe, so we decided to try one. I think the one that's on my machine was probably one of the first ones they brought in, one of the first season they brought them in anyway. From my understanding, with MAGGROW system is attracted to the plant that we're trying to spray it on. And the difference was just phenomenal. And we didn't do any scientific side-by-sides, but I had seen others that had been done. I could tell by observation that our drift was less, and the coverage I felt like was getting superior coverage. But the main thing is performance. Penetration, coverage, performance, that's what we're looking for. With MAGGROW system, I'm confident I'm getting better canopy penetration, less drift, sometimes even eliminating drift, but much less than we would with conventional system. You absolutely don't want that chemical leaving the field you're applying. That's why I want to use it and continue to use it.
I'm John Seeley. Buford Lake Planting Company is my farm, and we farm primarily cotton and soybeans. When I initially got started farming, the commodity prices were fairly low, but the input prices, they kind of went up pretty high. They've never really gone back down, so we try to watch every dime we spend on chemicals. Brian at Vantage South approached me because I had two identical sprayers, conventional sprayers, and so he wanted to put a MAGGROW on one and the other one, leave it conventional, do some test plots, see how it really worked, because their claim to fame about less chemical and less water and better coverage is a pretty substantial claim. We did a 100% rate, and then we did a 75% rate, and then a 50% rate. I mean, everything looks the same. I mean, you can't tell the difference going with reduced water and reduced chemical. It's kind of weird because it kind of draws down into the canopy where usually, it kind of rolls out behind the sprayer. I was actually across the pad from one of the sprayers and they made a turn, and usually it'll spray on my truck or whatever. It didn't at all with the wind blowing into me, and I thought, well, it's kind of odd. And so there's definitely a difference. I don't know how it does it, but there's more droplets up under the leaves than in the conventional spraying. And that's what we want to penetrate, especially with insecticides. A lot of our worm materials are very expensive, and if you can't penetrate the canopy, then you're not doing any good. Instead of going from 20 gallons of water and you cut back to 15 gallons of water, and if you reduced your chemicals by 25% and still be on label, that would be astronomical. That's a huge amount of money you could save. And plus the environment. We've had zero problems out of the system. We haven't had to do one thing to it. As far as the upkeep and the maintenance, there's none. We've done some test strips where we actually reduced chemical and water by 50%, and there's absolutely no difference thus far. So that's pretty amazing. That's very amazing, actually. It would save the farmer a tremendous amount of money. The price point is pretty high on the MAGGROW system, but it paid for itself in no time. Because anybody who's dealt with pigweeds in Liberty, they'll kill them, but you have to spray them when they're really small. So to see a half rate, 50 or 60, 70% better coverage, potentially at 10 gallons, a half rate, you might be doing better than a conventional sprayer at 20 gallons. Not only Liberty's been sprayed half, but every insecticide's been sprayed half. I think we've made 6 plant bug applications, so if we cut that in half, that's a huge amount of money you could save. So it's not only herbicides, but insecticides too. And when you go over a crop and you could potentially save $50, $60 an acre, that ends up being a lot of money. Yeah, less work, more recreation.
To me, if there was 5 things that make yield, it's water, 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 and I don't know what the 5th one is. Well, my name is Jerry BRIGHTBILL. I farm with my brother. We continue to farm about 4,500 acres of irrigated cotton. We're really more interested in the kill than we are in the cost. A weed is a moisture sucker. In reality, we probably lose more water to weed than we do to the crop. When I heard about MAGGROW, let's get it installed, let's get it put on.
We wanted to take a conventional sprayer with a conventional mix and compare it to the MAGGROW sprayer. In the MAGGROW sprayer, we used the same rate, but then started cutting the rates at 75% and 50%. We put those out in strips. I could see absolutely no difference 3 days after it was sprayed and a week after it was sprayed.
The 50% did surprise me, that literally you could drop to 50 and see no difference.
I was expecting to see some kind of a line out there, and I didn't. So I was impressed. I said, wow, this is the first time I've seen that.
After we saw what we did with 100% 75 and 50% cut, the rest of our acres were all sprayed at 50 off. If you can go over twice the acres with the same tank, at the cost of these sprayers and the depreciation per hour, well, that's a lot of money. This thing isn't hard to pay for. My operator this is great. I can cover so many more acres without having to fill up, except for I got to be careful toward the end of the day that I don't put in there more than I can get out today, or I'll be here till midnight trying to get this thing sprayed.
It's rarely still in West Texas, so we have issues with drift, and that would be an advantage with this MAGGROW sprayer because it's going to take it right to the plant instead of going over to the neighbor. So the risk is a lot less.
I think it's probably the thing that's going to revolutionize all spraying of any type of insecticide, herbicide on agriculture products of any kind. I have no moving parts, nothing wears out. I can move it from sprayer to sprayer.
We're actually getting better coverage with less chemical on the plant than we would at 100% with a conventional sprayer.
I got a dead weed, I've saved some chemical, and I've gone over more acres. I don't know how much plainer that can be to anybody to look at. Well, there's 3 savings. If just one of them worked, I'd be happy. I've told all of our sales staff and the company that the #1 thing that we're going to do for 21 is educate as many people as we can to MAGGROW, because they all got the same problem. I can't kill the weed. Well, I think you can now.
My name is Pavel MILATA. I'm Managing Director of leading farmers company in the Czech Republic, and I have been selling agricultural equipment for 20 years. The benefits that we hope to achieve from selling MAGGROW should be increased revenues, and also we want to deliver to our customers a technology that helps them to save the environment. MAGGROW technology helps to reduce the drift of the chemicals that are being sprayed, and also allows for reducing the application rates of pesticides. So that can be up to 30% of the total volume of pesticides without any negative effect on the yield. So that means that the farmers will limit their impact on environment, and also they can save lots of costs, which is important especially now when the margins are low. Our technicians are able to install MAGGROW system on almost any sprayer in 1 day. Development of this technology is certainly a huge benefit for agricultural sector. The benefits of the technology have been proven and will provide tremendous benefits for the many hundreds of customers I service in the Czech Republic and Slovakia. I have been in the spraying business for 20 years. And have not previously seen a technology that improves conventional spraying to that extent that MAGGROW does.
I'm basically just a spraying contractor with a little bit of knowledge on a lot of things, and what the MAGGROW system impresses me with is there's no moving parts, there's no gizmos, there's no electronics, it's simple. My name's Andrew Kennedy. I run Kennedy Spraying Services in Montgomery in South Australia. We predominantly do small seed production spraying, doing a lot of control of insects and weeds in those, and that's brassicas, seed carrots. We do a bit of broadacre in the pasture and in the cropping phase as well. We were very sceptical when we looked into MAGGROW. It looked too good to be true, and I'm a big believer if it looks too good to be true, 9 times out of 10 it is. I like the fact that there was some of their points was drift reduction, less water, less chemical use, and better coverage. We've now done 2 coverage studies with MAGGROW in various crops. We can already see the benefits that the MAGGROW is going to deliver us. We found better coverage, drift reduction, reduce water rates. In regards to profitability, for every hour we're off a field and not spraying, that's costing us dollars, that's costing the client dollars. One of our biggest losses of production is going to get water, and sometimes the water source is not close. If we can reduce the water rates, which we're proving we can, we're regaining some time. I've probably been in the spraying industry now for 35, 36 years. Even though you think you've learnt everything that you can learn, the MAGGROW system is basically showing us we can still learn a bit more. Considering that we looked into this system when the virus was full strength, the support and the backup from MAGGROW has been just amazing. We tried some Guardian twin nozzles. I was scared when we first put them in. We had so much drift on the conventional, I didn't really want to try it. We put it on the MAGGROW unit and we probably cut the drift, I believe, by 50 to 60%. But I believe after using this for the period of time we've been using it, this is cutting edge technology, and I think going forward a lot of people in the industry will be fitting these to their spray units.